Okay, well, I got a couple of these shallow blue pots. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I will show you intermediate steps as this gets completed. A friend of mine found this and he purchased it for me, and this one is 26 inches, quite large. It's kind of getting hard to find these large pots, especially shallow ones. This one is a little bit smaller, 18 inches. So I have no idea exactly what I'm doing, but I know I want to do some landscape. So anyway, stay tuned. Have you been to a place like this? Or better yet, do you wish you could go to a place like this? This will be the water, either the lake or the ocean. What I want to do is to put the plant in here. So I'll find something that has a nice shape and then go up that way. And so this is very much how we do the Bonniwa. In the bonsai, we always put the plant first and then find complements. But what we do in the Bonniwa, just like we do in landscape, we get the situation set and then find a plant to fit it. Okay, I'm trying to get this tree to fit in here. I gotta work the roots, but you can see it needs to go down a little bit more, and I could backfill to this area. And I think this one tree with this arrangement will make a statement good enough so that we don't have to add a lot of other features. So anyway, that's my approach. So I'll go ahead and work on the roots and see if it really does work. So I'm going for a big, bold statement, and I think this will do it, right? So I just need to tidy up, maybe trim the tree a little bit, but you could see that this is a very big pot and only has one tree. But because of the rock arrangement, it makes a very strong statement. And that's kind of the approach that I wanted to take. Sometimes people put too many stuff in. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start tidying up. Okay, at this stage, what I'm doing is skirting water in here and trying to make sure all the air pockets out. And it's going to take a while, a number of times, just kind of slowly getting it wet, making sure all the pockets out. So I'll go ahead and get started on the other pot. And that way I'm more efficient. I get two of them done. Okay, for this one, I want to take a slightly different approach. I got this rock, but it may or may not start. So usually getting one or two rocks as the base, and then everything else kind of falls into place. So anyway, I'll go ahead and put some soil in there and see if I could do anything with this rock. And if I can, I have to go look for complementary rocks. Okay, well, it looks okay with this, but do I have other rocks that will complement? You know, these, you don't want to be mixing different varieties of rocks. So I'll go in my rock pile and see what I can find. Well, this might work. Well, what I'm trying to do is to make a little Japanese garden vignette. I need a couple of plants. Let's see if I could progress with this. I'm thinking something like this. Now, you can see the root ball doesn't want to fit. Well, we're going to have to make it fit if we want to use this. And I have the feeling that this might be a good combination. Of course, the leaf will be gone real soon, but I think in terms of size and proportion, this should work. So I'll go ahead and work the roots and see if I get it in there so that it all fits together with these rocks. So next time you see this, you'll be in place, or I'll have something else. Yeah, well, you know, when you're working on these, you gotta be flexible. Sometimes you want to do it, but it just won't work. But I think this one should work. Anyway, I'll go give it a shot. Okay, this is roughly what I have done today. I'm going to water this and then come back tomorrow and wrap up both. I'm not sure about this lantern. Everything else is very subtle except for the tree and the little shrub. So I may change that. There will be other little details that I'll be working on tomorrow. So please stay tuned. So I'm going to water this and let it sit overnight and then come back to it tomorrow. See ya tomorrow. Yesterday, I was using this particular lantern, and I got to thinking, everything else is so subtle, that one maybe stands out a little bit too much. I'm thinking maybe for this presentation, this one will be a little bit better, a little more subtle color. Very simple. I would say that this is a very Zen presentation because very subtle, simple, one tree and one little bush. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. This one started with that one rock, and that kind of set the pace, and everything more or less fell into place after that. And that's kind of what usually happens around here. You know, really not a definite idea. I know what I wanted to do was to do a little vignette of a Japanese garden. And so one of the most common in a Japanese garden is the tsukubai with the water, the water basin and a way to wash your hands. Part of the cleansing process before entering the tea house. And usually there is like a nice tree next to it and a lantern. So that's what I did. I created this little vignette out of a Japanese garden. And I used a natural stone basin rather than ceramic ones. And that's why everything is so subtle. And the lantern had to be more subtle than the first one I picked. I'll let you see it one more time. See, all kind of interesting from all angles. We're at the tail end of the fall colors. This one might change even more, but you could get an idea of what happens in your garden, right? So we have a trident maple and a variegated sedge plant. Very simple presentation. And that's one of the hard things for a lot of people. They want to cram everything in there. So in the Japanese garden approach, how little can you put in and still make the statement? And I think adding more elements to this just going to make clutter. Okay, so as it comes around, I'm going to change the height. Okay, so we changed the camera angle a little bit so you could see a little better. So 2 rocks, water basin, the spigot that feeds the water basin, and then a lantern. We usually put a lantern so that if there's an event at night, that could light the area. In reality, it really doesn't help much because the little thing inside is not enough light. But this is the way we typically do a Japanese garden. So that's what I wanted to do, and the Bonniwa was to do a vignette of the Japanese garden. So I'll let it go around to the front, and then we're gonna call it good. Then I'll get to the bigger one. Almost to the front. Yeah, making these little Japanese garden so much easier than when I had to do it in the garden. That rock would have been a 3-tonner. Yeah, I was hoping that we get a little bit more color on these, but you wait for a little bit more color and sometimes it just falls off. So it's not bad. But the trident, if you're lucky, you could get all the way from yellow to maroon. And this is getting there. So I'll put it outside and hopefully it'll color up a little bit better. But you can see the very subtleness of these rocks, the stones that I put in place. I think this is one of the most subtle ones that I've done in a long time. Like I was saying, this is much like the Zen state. Very subtle color. Okay, this is the aerial view. I wish I could use the turntable, but it's too heavy. So you're going to see my hand. It's not so smooth either, but at least you could see it. If it was a little bit heavier than this, and then we'll just move the camera. But here we are. This being too heavy for my turntable, electric turntable, I have to do it manually. Not so smooth, but it's better than some of the others where it was so heavy that I couldn't put it on this turntable, working turntable, right? So I'm not sure whether this is the backside. This looks pretty good too, huh? Yeah, when we make these, if the more personal experience you have, the more ideas you could come up with. I was thinking about like the Monterey Coast. Now, this gravel here, I should have put, well, I typically would put white, but we have the whitish on the stone up here, so I went with this. But it's simple to change that concept, right? Okay, if you were on a boat, or if this was just land, or you're walking, then this is what you see. And that's what you want to do, capture some of the nicest places you've been to, or, if you can't, or you have never been there, how about creating something that you wish you could get to? So I think that's one of the beauties of Bonniwa, is that, hey, you could have fun here. Hey, there's another cave right there. Yeah, I went for the dramatic and minimal in terms of trees. So when we approach Bonniwa, the tree quite often is secondary. So it does take somebody with enough confidence to put in one tree in a massive pot like this that was quite expensive. But I don't know, hopefully you agree with me that using negative space and interesting rock arrangement, one tree was enough. So as I sign off, this has been the Bonniwa in a blue tray. And well, hopefully you get some good ideas. Well, the hard part is finding these rocks. Remember I told you that I've been collecting rocks for the last 50 years? Well, so I have all these rocks to play with, and this one turned out pretty nice, and so was the other one too. So anyway, think about the Zen concept, where you try to put minimum amount of things and to make a statement. So only live plant we have is this one. Now this one here, by next year, will get a little bit more distinct shape, but the beauty of this presentation is in the rock. And the other part is to be able to use negative space. Too many people would have crammed all kinds of stuff in there, but then you lose this tranquility and the bold statement of one tree. Okay, this is Hero saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter.